If you are getting low quality leads from Google Ads, I am going to run through in this video what you might be doing wrong, what may be causing the low quality leads, or maybe it's just poor lead volume altogether, and how you can fix those things and how you can adjust them. A lot of these things in here are going to be a little bit more on the basic side, I would say, a little bit simpler, right? People who are new to running ads are running ads for themselves. But towards the end, there's probably a couple things that maybe some of you also don't know, such as bidding towards higher quality leads, offline conversions, and the call duration that you have set for your conversion goals. Starting off though, we're going to lean into some stuff such as never running performance max if you're trying to generate leads, because that's a bad idea. Not letting Google build your own campaigns, shocker, and other things such as partner networks, search and display networks, broad match, and all that sort of stuff. So if you're generating low quality leads and you need to fix that ASAP to stop burning money on Google Ads, let's go ahead and let's dive into it right now. So in this one, we're just looking at kind of honestly a random account. It's not a campaign we built. Actually, Google built it, if you can see, which brings me to my first point. Probably don't let the Google ad reps build your campaigns. 9 out of 10 times, in fact, 100% of the time, the Google reps, they don't build good campaigns. It's put simple, right? And I think anyone who's ever had a Google build campaign go live and run, they probably would agree and say, yeah, it just kind of wasted money. But let's break down two things, obviously. One, how does it waste money? And two, how can we get higher quality leads from Google? So there's going to be multiple things that trigger this. First, this is going to be the first thing, and immediately I notice it. You can see that they are running Google ads on what's called the partner networks, right? So if you go into your campaign settings like I am here, you want to disable and ensure both of these things are turned off. So you would go through, deselect both of them. We do not want these to run at all. The Google partner networks, which a lot of these Google reps or whoever may leave on or even turn on, they're just bad. They will yield low quality leads, which is not what we want, right? The whole point of this video. So if you're getting a lot of low quality leads, there's a good chance it's coming from these two partners or one of these two partner networks. The search network and the display network are not your typical Google search that you're used to. It's something entirely separate, and we don't want to spend any of our budget there. So just go ahead and turn that off. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to hit save. While speaking of partner networks, something else worth noting as well is you should not be running a performance max campaign for lead gen. So notice here, this is a search campaign. For 99% of you out there looking to generate leads through Google, you should stick to a search campaign. Don't run performance max to generate leads. If you are actively running performance max to generate leads, I'm sure you're getting a lot of leads or a lot of conversions, but I would also bet that a majority of them are pretty low quality telemarketers, spam, or something like that. Hence, stick to search campaigns. Let's go back into their campaign settings here. There's a couple other things I'm going to call out. So one, and this obviously does vary niche to niche, but yes, the budget is super important here. And I have a full video breaking down how to determine what you should start spending on Google Ads and what you should be spending on Google Ads. But realistically, you have to have adequate budget. You have to have adequate daily spend to actually compete and get leads, right? So if you're a roofer, for example, and you're spending $15 a day, you're not going to get leads. You're just not, especially when the average cost per click exceeds that, or even the average, cost per lead. And that's the best way to go about it, is to be weary of what, or I should say aware of what the average cost per lead and what the average cost per click is for your niche and your location, right? So roofer, emergency, plumbing, dentist, whatever you are, go into the Google Keyword Planner and do some research, right? If your average cost per click for, Tampa, Florida for a dentist is going to be $14 per click, you should probably be spending like 50, 80 bucks a day or something minimum, right? You're not going to spend $10, $20 a day just to get one or two clicks. It's not going to work. So budget, obviously that doesn't mean more quality in this case for the sake of this video. I'm just kind of putting it out there. You should be aware of what you should be spending, right? Again, Google Ads isn't for everyone. You have to have the budget to run ads. And also I'm on that, I will say platforms like Meta are way cheaper, right? You can have a much lower budget on Meta than you can on Google, but at the end of the day, you got to come back and think about lead quality and intent. 9 out of 10 times, leads generated through Google Ads, when done right, are going to be much more higher quality and much more ready or intentful than leads generated through Meta ads. Perhaps the cost per lead greatly differs, but at the end of the day, think about the cost per moving forward, or cost per booking, or cost per qualified lead, right? Let's dive right into the next point. So another issue here I see a lot of advertisers make, which does affect both their campaign spending, sometimes the lead flow, and obviously the quality, is they do a premature target CPA. And they also do a TCPA that is way lower than what it should be. So this is a good example here, right? So this client has a target CPA of $2. Now let's just use the same example, and let's say you're a dental office in Tampa. What you're basically telling Google here is, hey, with all the data you have in my account, with all the conversion data you have, I want to get leads for $2 a pop. That's just not going to happen, right? As much as you want it to happen, it's not. And that's not what this setting is for. You're not going to go in there and just say, hey, Google, I want $5 leads. Figure it out. It's not going to happen. And Google's going to look at this number and be like, what do I do? I don't know. And it's either going to stop spending your ads, or it's just not going to get you very quality leads at all. So don't have a stupid low target CPA, have a reasonable target CPA. And your target CPA should roughly be around like the 30-day overview or average of your cost per lead. So if this account's been running pretty well, I don't know, let's say they have an average cost per lead of $90 over 30 days. Maybe I set a TCPA of 80, maybe 90, maybe 100, somewhere within that reasonable range. But for this account with a low budget, low spend, not even really running and no conversions, I probably wouldn't even run max conversions right now. I'd probably do like max clicks with a max bid limit or something, right? So that would be another issue that could prevent lead quality or just leads from coming in. Now, aside from campaign settings and more typical obvious recommendations and observations, let's dive into actual targeting, right? Because that's where a lot of people make mistakes, and that's where a lot of bad quality comes in. So for this one, pretty straightforward. You should not be running broad match. This account is completely running broad match, and that would obviously be an issue in terms of quality, right? So if you're, again, looking to generate leads through Google and almost all of your keywords, or maybe all your keywords are broad match, I highly recommend you pivot those to either phrase or exact or both. Broad match is going to yield you a lot of wasted money. You're going to waste a lot of money on irrelevant search terms, a lot of competitors, and a lot of things that just you don't want to spend money on. A lot of the times when I find clients running broad match, I will just simply tell them, go check your search terms report, sort it by cost, and tell me what you're spending money on, and if you're happy about it. Guess what? They're usually never happy about it, right? You go check your search terms report. You can scroll up here, go to just check your search terms report, go to insights and reports here at the top. You're going to click search terms, and you'll be able to see what you spent money on. And here it'll break it down completely by cost per click, how many impressions, how many clicks it had, right? This is where you see what your ads are actually targeting or triggering, right? So just because your keyword is dental office near me, but it's broad match, Google can show your ads for all sorts of things if it's even remotely similar, and that's where money gets burnt. It'll start showing it for other dentists, other competitors, insurance companies that accept, dental care or something, or just common questions, images of dental pictures like AI, SaaS companies. It's just going to start showing it to anything that's relating or somewhat similar. We don't want that. We want to use phrased or exact match keyword targeting only to keep things niche and keyword intent, or as I call it, search intent, right? We want to spend money on quality search terms. Sure, your broad match keywords may be yielding really low CPCs and stuff, and that may be great on paper and great in numbers, but if you're not getting leads or you're not getting quality leads, who cares? And again, these broad match keywords will typically result in much lower quality leads. I've seen it work for other niches and some clients and some accounts, and does vary. But again, for the majority of you, for new advertisers, for those running ads for themselves, avoid broad match entirely. Now, some of the last tips to improve lead quality on Google Ads is going to come down to what you're tracking for conversions and how you're optimizing towards it, right? So first, and we'll just say it simply, if you're not tracking actual conversions being raw leads generated, that's already an issue, and you got to go fix that, right? Don't track page views. Don't track things like people getting directions. You want to track whatever you deem to be a conversion or a raw lead. For 90% of you, that's going to mean tracking phone calls and form submissions. Maybe Calendly bookings or some sort of quote request, but still that kind of falls in line with forms and phone calls. So that's all you should be tracking. Also, all you should be optimizing for. When I say optimizing for, I'm referencing primary versus secondary action optimization or conversion goals. You can set things to secondary that don't matter. For example, if you are actually tracking page views or like local directions, set that to secondary because you don't want Google to bid or optimize for those things. Maybe you just want to be aware of it. But you do want Google to optimize for raw leads. whatever Google is optimizing towards, it's learning, it's training the algorithm to get you more of those, more of that quality, et cetera, et cetera. So when you're setting up your conversion goals and your conversion tracking, make sure that whatever you deem as a primary conversion is actually set to primary. Anything you deem not a primary conversion goal is set to secondary. And you can do that by just editing the goals here or directly editing them here. Primary versus secondary, very important. For a majority of our clients that are generating leads, the only primary conversion goals would be submit lead form, website calls, and extension calls. Simple. Now, a trick a lot of people don't either pay much attention to or they kind of forget about is the call duration does actually matter. So if you click into one of your phone call conversion goals, such as this one here, this is for calls from ads. Call length is set to 20 seconds. So I would say 20 seconds doesn't mean a quality phone call. Think about it. You're a business owner and the 5 leads that called you guys today, the call dropped after 20 seconds. Did it probably result in a conversion or a book job? Probably not. It's probably a wrong number, confused, or just wasn't a good fit, right? Though if all of your calls today went over a minute or went over 2 minutes long, they were probably pretty good calls. They were probably at least decent, relevant, or maybe they did book an appointment. That's what you should be bidding towards and optimizing for. It's very important. So you want to edit your call length to be whatever you would deem successful. Don't overdo it, but don't underdo it. So 20 seconds is probably underdoing it, whereas 60 seconds is probably just perfect. Basically telling Google we want to optimize for leads or users or customers that are going to be 60-second phone calls or more. This will take time for the algorithm to actually adjust towards. It's not like an instant fix, but you want to catch this early and make that change now. You don't want to keep bidding or optimizing towards 5 and 10-second phone calls. That's not going to be quality calls whatsoever. So make sure you make that adjustment and actually adjust the call length to be something more redeemable. Now, obviously, this is very high level, and this is honestly a lot more, I would say, basic recommendations to actually optimize towards lead quality. There's a lot more things you can do from just the ad setup to targeting, conversion value-based bidding. Obviously, you can import offline conversions such as like your Zoho CRM leads or your Salesforce leads. You can import conversion goals for booked, closed jobs, all this sort of stuff, landing page improvements. There's a lot more in-depth stuff. So I certainly will make a more advanced video on those more advanced techniques for bidding towards or optimizing towards higher quality lead and conversions. But for the sake of simplicity, I think this is a pretty good beginner video showing you some quick tips on things you shouldn't be doing and how you should be doing it within Google Ads, while also kind of explaining how it would improve lead quality or lead flow. Any questions you have about anything I talked in this video or anything you want to hear in the next video on those more advanced topics regarding lead quality and optimizations, comment it below and I'll make a video on it. Thank you so much.